Hello, I'm Elysia Duke, and I'm going to give my few cents on President Donald Trump's executive order that truckers must read and speak English. This presentation ties into a couple of my books and would get well to my point near the end. I guess that the U.S. has two official languages, English, American English, and Spanish. Immigrants are coming in from Spanish-speaking nations and would have a difficult time learning the English language. I have come across hotel housekeepers along my travels in recent years, and when I make a request, they would reply, "No habla inglés." That is when our iPhones come in handy to use a translator. Of course, some got Android phones. Excuse me. U.S. road signs are entirely in English, and it would be inexpensive to replace signs speaking both English and Spanish, and therefore will not follow the Quebec example. So, we're in Canada, Quebec. Signs are both English and French. Trump is referring to a 1970 precedent where truckers must be proficient in English. However, other presidents have relaxed on the law, which Trump claimed that accidents increased since then. It is not my job to side with either public official. Very good, thank you, or muy bien, gracias. Now I want to get to my point. I have mentioned AI trucking in my books, and robo-trucker would not read the fine print thoroughly in English or any other language unless they start including barcodes or QR codes on signs for robo-trucker to scan. Because their cameras are basically more to scan codes and images rather than text. Anyway, no matter what kind of cameras that were trained, a human is still needed to read the signs and make the appropriate moves on the road. Can a driverless truck, only legal in Texas right now, recognize flashing lights when it's speeding? Most likely, it would refuse to pull over. But how would the officer hand the driverless truck a ticket? Unless there's a QR code that the officer scans and sends the citation to the company via certified mail. As far as I know, signs in Texas are still in English, unless they get close to the Mexican border, and very few would be in Spanish. Road signs in Mexico are completely in Spanish, and speeds go by kilometers per hour. There are signs near tunnels that require drivers to turn their lights on, but they are commonly in smaller print. What about the mountains when going down a steep grade? Robo-trucker would only recognize a sign with a truck going down, but most likely would not recognize word to word, including the percentage of the grade. If they need to stop at a brake check area on an interstate highway, if the grade is 6% or higher, robo-trucker should only think slope as a mathematical computation of rise over run and would not think much about the steepness of the grade. I'm not getting into algebra, but for a 7% grade, it could only divide 7 by 100 to get 0.07 or 7%, but not have the actual slide pictured in its memory. Did I mention would it be able to smell or see smoking brakes? It would most likely skip the runaway ramp. This is why humans in trucking jobs are still important, because they are more accurate than AI. Companies do not want to pay much for help anymore. And, that's sad. That's also why I guess Trump would not invest money into replacing signs that read both English and Spanish. This is why humans must always fight for their jobs and encourage their human friends to get training in trade school or college, regardless of how low or how high pay is.